Ferrari are looking to sign the former technical director of Mercedes, Mike Elliot, and while many believe that he stood behind the failure of the W13 and the original version of the W14 before the return of James Allison, the situation is very different when it comes to experience and knowledge in his field of expertise. With everything that Mike is bringing to the table, as well as his previous work in collaboration with Hamilton, could he be the key replacement for Enrico Cardille for the new regulation era that is supposed to kick in 2026? And more importantly, can he bring an immediate fix to Ferrari's issues for 2025 as well? It's safe to say that one of the most controversial technical directors on the grid was Mike Elliot, mostly because of the fact that he was in charge when Mercedes produced two of the worst performing cars in their existence, the W13 and the W14. Still, with the W13, Mercedes managed to win a race in Brazil and complete a 1-2 finish, and while it was dubbed as one of the worst cars that has exited manufacturing from Brackley, it still finished second in the Constructors' Championship in 2022 and third in 2023. Now, in 2024, Mercedes have flipped the script without Elliott, but that doesn't really seem to bother Ferrari, as the Maranello team is looking forward to bringing the outcast from Mercedes and making sure that the environment they're going to provide to him is going to be more than optimal to work in. Similar to Mercedes in the past couple of years, Ferrari is now struggling to bring upgrades that would help them understand the performance of the car, even though the first couple of races were heavily in their favour once the Imola upgrades started to arrive, and the team was supposed to be the fastest one on the grid on paper from Barcelona. They fumbled so hard and even brought back the porpoising phenomenon. A lot of you would think that Mike Elliot is not really the right man to fix this issue because of the fact that he couldn't do it with the W13 and the W14, but the situation is really very different now. Ferrari do not possess the same philosophy and working window as those cars. Unlike the Mercedes versions of cars, Elliott would work with a car that has a wide operating window due to it not being extremely interpreted like the W13 and the W14 were to their absolute maximum. Even though it's no excuse at all, Elliott worked to the absolute limit and interpreted the rules to a point where it brought a minimal optimal working window for the car, which is what Red Bull is struggling with the RB20 right now. And this is not going to be an issue with Ferrari due to their more conservative yet fruitful approach to the car. And what is also a good sign for Elliott is that Ferrari have already parted ways with their technical director Enrico Cardille, who went on to sign a contract with Aston Martin and likely replace Dan Fallows. So all of this is putting Mike in a very good position to continue with the quest of proving himself in the sport as a senior figure full of experience and knowledge. Obviously, he was a crucial part of Mercedes' success from 2014 to 2021, and Elliott himself admitted that he couldn't do the technical director job in the Brackley-based squad nearly as good as Allison, which is of itself more than enough for Ferrari to consider looking somewhere else. However, Elliott has been part of the sport for quite some time now to understand how everything works and moves, so if he is able to accept a challenge of transforming Ferrari's upgrades and make sure that the team would finally start winning races in a consistent manner, then it would likely put him very high among the technical minds in Formula One. Not that he doesn't belong there right now, of course, but there is a negative spell from Mercedes that needs to be broken, a voyage that needs to bring him back his self-confidence, and what better journey for him than Ferrari, the team that effectively lost the mid-season development war to Mercedes and McLaren when they had the best opportunity to snatch the lead from Verstappen and Red Bull, now that the Austrian team is no longer the most dominant one on the grid. And obviously the approach that Fred Vasseur has in this regard is a bit different to the one that Mattia Binotto had when he was the team principal of Ferrari. The Swiss used to promote engineers from within, and it seemed like it didn't work that well, while Vasseur's scheme of work is to bring the best from outside Ferrari, which has been done primarily with Loic Serra and now will likely be done with Mike Elliott too. These two have worked together in Mercedes, but there is a twist. The primary reason why Sarah left Mercedes is because the engineers under the command of Elliott continued with the zero pod design because they believed there was more performance to be extracted out of it if they learn better from it. Truth be told though, they were deceived by the 1-2 win in Brazil in 2022, which is why they decided to continue with that development path. And after the first race in 2023, it was scrubbed immediately and the entire Mercedes structure was reshuffled. It would be interesting to see whether Sarah would now prefer to work with his old colleague from Mercedes, but as all things stand, it seems like both of them are ready to let bygones be bygones, and now under different management roles in Ferrari, combining their strengths to give Hamilton and Leclerc the best possible car from 2025 onwards is definitely the most important thing for everyone employed in Ferrari. The Maranello project, although still bringing upgrades in 2024 and focusing on fixing the bouncing issue during the summer break when the 2-week ban is lifted, has also set their sights on the next season because it's now obvious they've been outdeveloped by teams like McLaren and Mercedes. However, a small fix with the bouncing could see them fight for P2 or even keep the third position stellar and defend against Mercedes, who are now not just a regular podium contender but also a regular race-winning candidate, as they are the team to have won the most races after Red Bull in 2024, 3. What is even further bad news for Ferrari though is that the development path they have chosen for 2024, or more precisely the upgrades they are planning to the SF24, have a nature of concern in terms of whether or not they will work as planned. This is something that plagued the performance of Mercedes in 2022 and 2023, and to make things even worse for Ferrari, McLaren and Mercedes are even more confident in what they are about to bring in the next step of their upgrades in terms of speed and ironing out the flaws of their cars. Truth be told, even Ferrari had the same mindset before Barcelona, so this could mean literally nothing as these cars operate in such fine margins that one failed upgrade is taking you back months with the upgrade and development of the car, something that Ferrari would be looking to avoid if they were to sign Mike Elliot in the team in the foreseeable future. It has also emerged that Ferrari have zero to no chances of signing Newey as the biggest and loudest name in the paddock, with Aston Martin nearing a contract with the 65-year-old mastermind, but this isn't practically a loss for Ferrari because they weren't looking for someone who would do an advisor role with Newey's success anyway. Not to take away any credit from Adrian, but if he signed the contract with Ferrari, he would have been nothing more than an advisor and his work wouldn't be directly on the car, as he now prefers to work more remotely and from home, which is why Aston Martin emerged as the best potential solution for his career at this point. And for Ferrari, they need engineers at certain positions who would work their souls off in order to understand the platform much better, even though this was perceived to be an easy mission for the team due to the conservative approach they had at the beginning of the season, and just continue on shedding time, not just to Red Bull but also to McLaren and Mercedes. Many believe that 2026 is anybody's guess in terms of competitiveness, but as all things stand, we could say the same for 2025 as well. And while the Drivers' Championship is definitely something that has a lot less drama and competition, we must keep a close eye on the Constructors' Championship now that Red Bull have decided to commit to Perez until the end of the year. This gives Ferrari a really good opportunity to catch up with the Austrian team if they fix the issues on their car, because they have two drivers who are constantly finishing high in the points when the car is delivering the performance they're asking from it, and with a difference that is not so big to catch up with, Red Bull's lead is all but safe at this point. With all of this in mind, do you think that Ferrari does have what it takes in order to bring Elliott to Maranello? And if so, do you think this would be the right move for the team? Let us know what you're thinking in the comments below, and once you do that, have a look at the video that's appearing on your screen right now.